Various Maritime Zones by Dr. Harb. What is a baseline? The baseline itself is not a maritime zone but a line from which various maritime zones are measured in nautical miles. Therefore, a baseline, as defined by UNCLOS, is the line along the coast from which the seaward limits of a state's territorial sea and certain other maritime zones are measured. Normally, a baseline follows the low water line of a coastal state. In the case of islands situated on atolls or of islands having fringing reefs, the baseline for measuring the breadth of the territorial sea is the seaward low water line of the reef, as shown by the appropriate symbol on charts officially recognized by the coastal state. When the coast is deeply indented, has fringing islands or is highly unstable, straight baselines may be used. Practically, the baseline is always marked on large-scale charts officially recognized by the concerned coastal state and deposited at the UN Secretariat. What are internal waters? Internal waters are all the waters that fall landward of the baseline, such as lakes, rivers, and tidewaters. States have the same sovereign jurisdiction over internal waters as they do over their territories. In the absence of agreements to the contrary, there is no right of innocent passage through internal waters. The right of innocent passage under the international law of the sea means a ship's right to enter and pass through the territorial sea of a coastal state so long as it is not prejudicial to the peace, good order, or security of the coastal state. What is the territorial sea? It is defined under the UNCLOS as the 12 nautical miles zone from the baseline or low water line along the coast. Within 12 nautical miles seaward from the baseline, the coastal state is free to set laws, regulate use, and use any resource. However, foreign ships have the right of innocent passage through territorial seas. Fishing, polluting, weapons practice, and spying are not innocent, and submarines and other underwater vehicles are required to navigate on the surface and to show their flag. Coastal states can also temporarily suspend innocent passage in specific areas of their territorial seas, if doing so is essential for the protection of their security. What is a contiguous zone? It is a zone contiguous to a territorial sea of a coastal state, which may not extend beyond 24 nautical miles from the baseline from which the territorial sea is measured. Therefore, the contiguous zone is an area of sea contiguous to and extending seaward of the territorial sea, in which the coastal state may exercise the control necessary to prevent and punish infringements of its customs, fiscal, immigration, and sanitary laws within its territory or territorial sea. A contiguous zone must be claimed by the coastal state and, unlike the territorial sea, does not exist automatically. States may claim an exclusive economic zone that extends 200 nautical miles from the baseline. In this zone, a coastal state has the exclusive right to exploit or conserve any resources found within the water, on the seafloor, or under the seafloor subsoil. Unlike the territorial sea and the contiguous zone, the EEZ only allows for the previously mentioned resource rights and the law enforcement capacity to protect those rights. It does not give a coastal state the right to prohibit or limit freedom of navigation or overflight, subject to very limited exceptions. What is a continental shelf? It is a natural seaward extension of a land boundary. This extension is geologically formed as the seabed slopes away from the coast, typically consisting of a gradual slope, the continental shelf proper, followed by a steep slope, the continental slope, and then a more gradual slope leading to the deep seabed floor. These three areas, collectively known as the continental margin, are rich in natural resources, including oil, natural gas and certain minerals. In other words, the continental shelf is the natural prolongation of the land territory to the continental margin's outer edge, or 200 nautical miles from the coastal state's baseline, whichever is greater. It may exceed 200 nautical miles until the natural prolongation ends. However, it may never exceed 350 nautical miles from the baseline, or it may never exceed 100 nautical miles beyond the 2,500-meter isobath, the line connecting the depth of 2,500 meters. Coastal states have the right to harvest mineral and non-living material in the subsoil of its continental shelf, to the exclusion of others. Coastal states also have exclusive control over living resources attached to the continental shelf, but not to creatures living in the water column beyond the exclusive economic zone. High seas are open to the enjoyment of every state without any sovereignty, which shall be used for peaceful purposes only. High seas have been defined as those areas of the seas which are not parts of the internal waters or territorial sea of any state. The possible dispute that can occur on high seas is of sovereignty over the ships. The answer to this problem is provided in Article 92 of UNCLOS, which states that the state in which the ship is registered shall have jurisdiction over it. In the cases of piracy, all states share jurisdiction on equal footing, as international principles shall apply for the common good of the mankind. The area or the deep seabed is defined as the seabed, ocean floor and subsoil thereof beyond the limits of national jurisdiction. Geographically, it is found at the outer edge of the continental shelf, which is governed by the International Seabed Authority. All the states at the international level which may be coastal or landlocked can access the deep seabed. The profits obtained from the utility of natural resources may be shared with the international community by the distribution of income from the International Seabed Authority. Thank you.